Fall asleep to A Clash of Kings, a gentle summary of Book 2. Welcome back, traveler. Settle yourself comfortably once more. Let the tensions of your day drift away like morning mist. We return now to Westeros, where war has erupted across the Seven Kingdoms, where winter continues its slow approach, and where 5 kings vie for power. Take a deep breath. Let your body sink into comfort. There is no urgency here, no need to remember every detail. Let the story wash over you like gentle waves on a distant shore. We begin where we left off, in a world fracturing, a realm at war with itself, and children forced to become something more than children. The comet in the sky. As our story resumes, a great comet appears in the sky above Westeros. It blazes red, with a tail that stretches across the heavens. Everyone who sees it interprets its meaning differently, seeing in it what they wish or fear to see. In King's Landing, they say it heralds Joffrey's reign, the red comet announcing a new age. Some call it King Joffrey's comet. In the north, the old gods are silent, but men whisper that the comet is a herald of war, blood spilling across the land like the red streak across the sky. At River Run, where Robb Stark has made his base, some say it announces the coming victory of the young wolf. Across the narrow sea, in the red waste beyond Karth, Daenerys sees the comet and knows it is meant for her. It is a dragon's tail, a trail of fire pointing the way she must go. The comet is all these things and none of them. It is simply a comet, indifferent to human meaning. But we are creatures who find patterns, who see signs in the sky, who need the universe to speak to us. So let the comet burn there in your mind's eye, red against the darkness, a symbol of change, of transformation, of the fire that is coming to the world. Breathe slowly. Feel yourself settling. The comet moves across the sky, patient and eternal, and beneath it, the Game of Thrones continues. Tyrion comes to King's Landing. In the capital, chaos reigns. Joffrey is king in name, but he is a cruel boy of 13 with no wisdom or restraint. His mother Cersei rules as Queen Regent, but she is losing control. The city is restless, hungry, frightened by the war. Into this tense situation comes Tyrion Lannister, the imp, the dwarf son of Lord Tywin Lannister. His father has sent him to King's Landing with a mission: serve as Hand of the King in Tywin's name and control Cersei and Joffrey before they destroy everything. Tyrion arrives with his wildling woman Shae, who he has taken as his lover, and his Sellsword companion Bronn. He moves into the Tower of the Hand and immediately begins to work his clever schemes. Tyrion is perhaps the most intelligent person in King's Landing, certainly the most pragmatic. He is ugly, yes, misshapen, yes, but his mind is sharp as Valyrian steel. He understands people, understands power, understands the game better than those who hate and underestimate him. His first challenge is his sister Cersei. She resents his presence, resents his authority, sees him as a threat. They maneuver against each other constantly, a dance of siblings who have never loved each other. Tyrion sends away one of Joffrey's Kingsguard, Sir Boros Blount, for cowardice, replacing him with Tyrion's own man, Bronn. Small moves, careful positioning. He also discovers that the city is desperately short of food. The war has disrupted trade. The riverlands are being ravaged. Supplies cannot get through. The small folk are hungry and angry, and hungry, angry people are dangerous. Tyrion knows he must prepare for what is coming. Stannis Baratheon has the better claim to the throne, and Stannis has ships and men. He will come to King's Landing eventually to take what he believes is rightfully his. When he comes, the city must be ready to defend itself. Picture Tyrion in the Tower of the Hand, maps spread before him, candles burning late into the night. He drinks his wine and thinks and plans. He is a small man, easy to overlook, but he casts a long shadow. In this city of liars and schemers, he may be the only one who actually knows what he is doing. Let this image rest in your mind. The dwarf at his desk, the weight of the kingdom on his twisted shoulders, working through the night while others sleep. There is something comforting in competence, in intelligence applied to impossible problems. Tyrion may not win, but he will fight with every tool he has. Arya on the road. Far from the intrigues of King's Landing, Arya Stark travels north in disguise, hidden among a group of Night's Watch recruits and prisoners being taken to the wall. She calls herself Ari, a boy, keeping her hair short and her identity secret. The journey is hard. The war is everywhere. They pass burned villages and hanged men. They see the cost of the conflict in every mile. Fields untended, homes abandoned, small folk suffering for the ambitions of lords they will never meet. Arya is with a diverse group. Gendry, a bastard boy who is actually King Robert's unacknowledged son, though he doesn't know his father's identity. Hot Pie, a baker's boy who is soft and frightened. Lommy Greenhands, a dyer's apprentice, and others, all scared, all trying to survive. They are under the escort of Euron, a recruiter for the Night's Watch, a gruff but decent man who protects his charges as best he can. He knows who Arya really is, knows she is highborn, but he keeps her secret. But the war catches up with them. Soldiers in service to the Lannisters stop their group, looking for Gendry. Queen Cersei has ordered all of Robert's bastards killed, tying up loose ends. Euron refuses to hand over any of his recruits. A fight breaks out. Euron is killed. The group is scattered. Arya, Gendry, Hot Pie, and a few others are captured and taken to Harrenhal, the great ruined castle on the shore of the God's Eye Lake. Harrenhal is a cursed place, they say. It was built by Harren the Black and destroyed by Dragonfire when Aegon the Conqueror came to Westeros. Its towers are melted like candles, its walls charred and broken. They say everyone who holds Harrenhal is doomed to misfortune. The prisoners are put to work as servants. Arya becomes a cupbearer, serving at the high table. The castle is held for the Lannisters by Sir Amory Lorch, a cruel knight. The prisoners live in fear, watching as people are tortured and killed for sport or information. Arya makes a list. Every night she whispers names to herself: Joffrey, Cersei, Eileen Payne, the Hound, the Mountain, Sir Amory, Sir Meryn, the Tickler. These are the people she blames for her father's death, for her family's suffering. She recites the list like a prayer, each name a promise of vengeance. But Arya is just a small girl in a huge, terrible place. She is powerless. Or so it seems. Then Tywin Lannister himself comes to Harrenhal, making it his headquarters for his campaign in the Riverlands. Lord Tywin, the richest and most powerful lord in Westeros, the man who rules the Lannister family with an iron will. He takes Arya as his personal cupbearer, not knowing who she really is. Arya serves him. She listens to his war counsels. She is invisible to him, just another servant girl. He speaks freely in front of her, never imagining that Ned Stark's daughter is pouring his wine. There is something strange in these scenes, the girl and the lord, so close, so far apart. If Tywin knew who she was, she would be an invaluable hostage. If Arya had the means, she could kill him and change the course of the war. But neither knows. They exist in proximity, enemies unaware. Picture Harrenhal at night, vast, dark, half-ruined, full of ghosts and suffering. Arya lies awake, whispering her list, planning revenge she cannot take, surviving one day at a time. She is harder now than the girl who left Winterfell. The soft parts of her are being burned away by necessity and rage. But she survives. That is what Arya does. She is small and fierce and will not give up. Somewhere in the darkness, a wolf prowls, and in her dreams, Arya runs with it, feeling its strength, sharing its hunger. Bran's dreams. In Winterfell, Bran Stark wakes from his long coma, but he will never walk again. His legs are useless. He must be carried everywhere, and this is bitter for a boy who once climbed every tower and wall with fearless joy. But Bran has something else now, something he is only beginning to understand. He has strange dreams, vivid and powerful. In these dreams, he is his direwolf, Summer. He runs through the woods, hunts with tooth and claw, sees through wolf eyes. At first, Bran thinks these are just dreams. But slowly he realizes they are more. When he dreams of Summer, Summer dreams of him. They are connected, boy and wolf, sharing something deeper than companionship. An old saying in the north speaks of wargs, people who can enter the minds of animals, control them, see through their eyes. This is old magic, from the time of the first men and the children of the forest. Most people think it is just legend. But Bran is discovering it is real, and he is a warg. Maester Luwin, who has cared for Bran since birth, is skeptical. He believes in ravens and history and the things that can be measured and understood. Magic makes him uncomfortable. But even he cannot deny that Bran knows things he shouldn't know, sees things happening far from where his body lies. Bran is also visited by strange dreams of a three-eyed crow, the same one from his coma. It tells him he must learn to fly. This makes no sense. How can a crippled boy fly? But the dreams persist, insistent, calling him toward something he doesn't yet understand. Winterfell itself is in a strange state. Robb has gone south to war, taking most of the fighting men with him. The castle is held by a small garrison under Sir Roderick Castle, the Master-at-Arms. Bran is the Stark in Winterfell, the Lord's heir, and he must sit in judgment, hold court, make decisions he is too young to make. His little brother Rickon is there too, only 4 years old now, confused and frightened by all the changes. The two boys have their direwolves, Bran's Summer and Rickon's Shagadog. The wolves are growing large, increasingly wild, less and less like dogs and more like the fearsome predators of old. The wildling woman Osha, captured the previous year, serves in the castle. She watches Bran with knowing eyes. She comes from beyond the wall, where old things still live, where magic has not quite died. She recognizes something in Bran, in his dreams, in his connection to Summer. The old gods are strong here still, she tells him. The heart tree in the godswood, the weirwood with its carved face, it watches. It knows. Bran begins to spend time in the godswood, sitting before the heart tree, feeling something he cannot name. Peace, perhaps. Connection. A sense that he is part of something ancient and ongoing, that his story is woven into a larger pattern. Let yourself rest in this image, the godswood of Winterfell, with its great weirwood tree, bone-white bark and red leaves like blood. The carved face with its weeping eyes, red sap like tears. The pool reflecting the tree. And a crippled boy sitting quietly, feeling the presence of gods older than memory. Time moves differently in the godswood. The rustle of leaves, the whisper of wind, the patient growth of ancient trees. Here, Bran is not broken. Here, he is connected to something that does not require legs to run. Breathe slowly. Let the peace of the godswood settle over you. Old magic, old gods, old stories still being told in the rustle of leaves and the dreams of a boy learning to fly. Jon Snow beyond the wall. At the wall, Jon Snow has become steward to Lord Commander Jeor Mormont. It is not the position of ranger he wanted, but it is an honor nonetheless. He is being groomed for command, learning the art of leadership from the old bear himself. But Jon's training is interrupted by a great ranging. The Night's Watch is going beyond the wall in force, 300 men, to discover what happened to Benjen Stark, Jon's uncle, who disappeared the previous year. More than that, they seek to learn why the wildlings are abandoning their villages, why they seem to be fleeing south, and what threat might be driving them. The ranging is the largest the Watch has mounted in living memory. Jon rides out with them, serving as the old bear's steward, his direwolf ghost beside him. Beyond the wall, the world is vast and silent and cold. The haunted forest stretches endlessly, thick with trees and shadows. Ancient magic lingers here, along with dangers both natural and unnatural. The Night's Watch makes their way to an old fortress called the Fist of the First Men, a ring of ancient stones on a hilltop. Here they make camp, sending out smaller parties to scout and gather information. Jon goes on some of these scouting missions. He sees abandoned wildling villages, empty and eerie. He finds signs that people left in haste, taking what they could carry and fleeing south. Something has frightened them terribly. One night, Jon's party is attacked by wildlings. In the fight, Jon is separated from his brothers. He pursues a fleeing wildling and captures her. She is a young woman named Ygritte, fierce and red-haired, a spearwife of the free folk. Jon's orders are to kill her. Wildlings are enemies of the Watch. But when the moment comes, sword raised, he cannot do it. She is kneeling before him, defiant but afraid, and he cannot kill an unarmed woman in cold blood. He lets her go. This is both mercy and failure. He has broken his sworn brother's trust, let an enemy escape. But he has also kept his humanity, refused to become the kind of man who kills without question. Ygritte runs into the forest, but before she disappears, she tells him something. "You know nothing, Jon Snow." It is said almost fondly, a recognition that this young crow from the wall understands less than he thinks about the world, about the free folk, about what is truly important. Jon returns to his brothers, troubled by his choice, saying nothing of his mercy. They continue their ranging, pushing deeper into the wilderness, seeking answers to questions that grow more ominous with each empty village. The Night's Watch discovers that the wildlings are gathering, tens of thousands of them, uniting under King Beyond the Wall named Mance Rayder. This is unprecedented. The wildlings are traditionally fractious, each clan independent. For them to unite suggests a threat so terrible that old enmities must be set aside. And there are darker signs too. The cold seems more bitter than it should be. Strange tracks are found. And some of the rangers report seeing things in the distance, pale shapes moving through the snow, silent and wrong. The others, the ancient enemy from the long night, may be returning. But who would believe such old tales? Who would accept that ice demons from children's stories are real? Jon stands watch on the Fist of the First Men, looking out into the darkness beyond their fires. Ghost sits beside him, white for almost luminous in the gloom, red eyes watching. The wolf is uneasy. He senses something wrong, something approaching. Winter is coming. The Night's Watch's words are, "I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings the dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men." These words feel more important now, more literal. The Watch may be the only thing standing between humanity and something ancient and terrible. Let this image settle. The wall behind them, impossibly tall, the wilderness ahead, vast and dark and cold. 300 men in black, tiny against the immensity of the north, keeping their watch while the south tears itself apart in petty wars. They stand between civilization and chaos, known and unknown, and they do not yet realize how desperately they are needed. Theon's betrayal. Theon Greyjoy has lived at Winterfell since he was 10 years old, a hostage taken after his father's failed rebellion. He was raised with the Stark children, treated almost as one of them, but never quite belonging. He is an Ironborn, from the Iron Islands, where they follow the drowned god and the old ways of reaving and raiding. When war breaks out, Robb sends Theon home to the Iron Islands as an envoy. Robb wants to make an alliance with Balon Greyjoy, Theon's father. The North will recognize the Iron Islands' independence if the Ironborn will join them against the Lannisters. Theon goes eagerly. He imagines his father will welcome him, will be proud of him, will give him ships and men. He imagines returning to Robb as a valuable ally, proving his worth. But Balon Greyjoy does not welcome his son warmly. He sees Theon as soft, corrupted by years among the wolves of the North. Theon's sister, Asha, is Balon's favored child, fierce and commanding, everything Theon wants to be but isn't. Worse, Balon has no intention of allying with Robb Stark. He declares himself king of the Iron Islands and plans to raid the North while its armies are away in the south. Why help Robb fight the Lannisters when he can take the North for himself? Theon is torn. He has a choice: stay loyal to Robb, who treated him as a brother, or prove himself to his father, who treats him as a disappointment. Family or friendship? Blood or bond? He chooses blood. He convinces himself this is right, that he is Ironborn, that his true loyalty must be to his house and his people. But underneath, he knows he is betraying Robb, betraying the Starks who raised him. Theon is given a small force and sent to raid fishing villages along the stony shore, a meaningless task meant to keep him out of the way. But Theon has a better plan. He will do something glorious, something that will force his father to respect him. He will take Winterfell. The castle is lightly defended, most of its garrison gone south with Robb. Theon approaches by stealth, tricks his way inside using knowledge gained from his years living there. In a quick strike, he captures the castle with barely a fight. Theon stands in the great hall of Winterfell, victorious. He is now Prince of Winterfell, he declares. He has taken the ancient seat of the Kings of Winter. Surely this will prove his worth. But the victory tastes like ashes. The people of Winterfell look at him with hatred and betrayal. He has to execute men he knew, men who treated him kindly. The castle feels wrong, hostile, not his despite his conquest. Worst of all, Bran and Rickon escape. They slip away with Osha and the direwolves, fleeing into the Wolfswood. Theon sends men after them, but they vanish. For a castle lord with no heirs held hostage, Theon's position is weak. He makes a terrible decision. He needs to look strong, needs to frighten the North into submission. So he takes 2 farm boys, kills them, and presents their burned corpses as Bran and Rickon Stark. He claims he caught them and executed them for their betrayal. The bodies are displayed on the walls of Winterfell. Throughout the North, word spreads. The Stark boys are dead, murdered by Theon Greyjoy, the Turncloak, the betrayer. Theon sits in Ned Stark's solar, drinking Ned Stark's wine, and feels nothing like the triumph he imagined. He is surrounded by enemies. His men are few. His sister will not send help. His father ignores his accomplishment. He has won Winterfell and lost everything that mattered. Picture Theon alone in the castle, walking empty halls, climbing the tower where he grew up. He is trying to become someone his father will respect, but he is destroying the person he actually was. The Ironborn despise him for being soft. The Northmen hate him for his betrayal. He belongs nowhere. Let this sad story rest in your mind. A boy trying to prove himself, making all the wrong choices, unable to go back, unable to go forward. Ambition and insecurity leading to cruelty and loss. Somewhere in the Wolfswood, Bran and Rickon hide, alive despite the corpses on Winterfell's walls. But the North believes them dead, and that belief will have consequences no one can foresee. Catelyn and Robb's war. Robb Stark, the young wolf, has won battle after battle against the Lannisters. He is a brilliant tactical commander despite his youth. His men love him. The Northmen and rivermen follow him with fierce devotion. But winning battles is not the same as winning a war. Robb's mother, Catelyn, is with him through the campaign. She advises him, though he does not always listen. She grieves for Ned, worries for her daughters held hostage in King's Landing, fears for her sons at Winterfell. When Robb hears that Theon has taken Winterfell and supposedly killed Bran and Rickon, he is devastated. Catelyn holds him while he weeps, this boy king who must be strong for his men. They both mourn, though Catelyn later learns the truth. The boys are alive, hidden, safe. But the war continues, grinding and terrible. Robb takes a castle called the Crag, and during the battle he is wounded. A girl named Jane Westerling nurses him. She is gentle and kind, and Robb is young and grieving and far from home. They sleep together. When Robb wakes, honor-bound like his father, he insists they must marry. He has taken her maidenhead. He will not dishonor her. Never mind that he is betrothed to a Frey girl as part of the alliance that allows his army to cross the river. Never mind the political consequences. Robb marries Jane in secret, choosing honor over politics, love over advantage. When Catelyn learns of this, she is horrified. Robb has broken his oath to the Freys. Lord Walder Frey is notoriously prickly and vengeful. This will have consequences. But Robb is young and in love and believes he can manage the situation. He is winning his war. Surely that matters more than one broken betrothal. Catelyn sees the danger more clearly. She has lived longer, understands the Game of Thrones better. Oaths matter. Alliances matter. Slights are remembered and repaid. But Robb will not be swayed. Meanwhile, Catelyn makes her own choice, one she knows Robb will hate. She releases Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, who has been held prisoner since his capture. She sends him south with Brienne of Tarth, a warrior woman sworn to Catelyn, with orders to trade Jaime for Sansa and Arya. It is a desperate move, trading their most valuable hostage for her daughters. Robb is furious when he learns of it. His bannermen are outraged. But Catelyn is a mother before she is a political actor. Her daughters matter more than any war. Brienne and Jaime begin their journey south, an odd pair, the huge warrior woman and the arrogant Kingslayer. Their journey will take them through war-torn countryside, through dangers and revelations. But that story unfolds slowly, over many miles. Picture Robb in his camp, maps spread before him, trying to win a war while his kingdom fractures. He is so young, barely 15, with the weight of the North on his shoulders. He makes decisions with courage and honor, not realizing that in the Game of Thrones, courage and honor are sometimes not enough. Catelyn watches him, loving him, fearing for him, seeing in him both his father's strength and his father's fatal dedication to honor above pragmatism. The North remembers. Yes. But the North is bleeding. And winter is coming. Stannis and the Red Woman. Stannis Baratheon sits on Dragonstone, the ancient seat of House Targaryen, a castle of dark stone carved with dragon shapes. He is Robert's eldest surviving brother, and by all laws of succession, he is the rightful king of Westeros. But Stannis is not loved. He is rigid, humorless, unbending. He speaks of duty and justice but inspires little warmth. Men respect him, even fear him, but they do not love him. With Stannis is a red priestess from Ass High, a woman named Melisandre. She serves R'hllor, the Lord of Light, a foreign god of fire and shadow. She has convinced Stannis that he is the chosen one, the prophesied hero who will save the world from darkness. Melisandre sees the future in her flames. She speaks of a war between light and darkness, between R'hllor and the Great Other. She says Stannis is Aeser Ahai reborn, the prince that was promised, destined to wield a burning sword and defend the world. Stannis, for all his pragmatism, has accepted this. Perhaps because he desperately wants to be more than he is. Perhaps because Melisandre's magic is real and undeniable. She demonstrates her power in a terrible ceremony. Stannis burns the seven, the gods worshipped throughout Westeros, in a great bonfire. Statues of the father, the mother, the warrior, all go into the flames. Those who worship the old gods watch in horror. This is sacrilege. From the flames, Stannis draws a sword. Melisandre calls it Lightbringer, the legendary blade of Azer Ahai. It glows with light, though whether it is truly the prophesied sword or merely a glamour, who can say? Not everyone on Dragonstone approves of Melisandre. Davos Seaworth, a former smuggler whom Stannis raised to knighthood, is loyal to Stannis but deeply distrustful of the Red Woman. Davos is a simple, honest man. He believes in Stannis, but this foreign magic troubles him. Stannis prepares for war. He has fewer men than he needs, fewer ships, less gold. His younger brother Renly has declared himself king and commands far greater forces. The brothers should unite against their common enemies, but neither will yield to the other. Stannis sends messages to all the lords of Westeros, declaring the truth about Joffrey's parentage, that Joffrey is a bastard born of incest, not Robert's son. Stannis is the rightful king. Some lords consider this. Most ignore it. Why back the grim, unloved Stannis when there are other options? Frustrated, Stannis sails his fleet to Storm's End, his ancestral castle, now held by men loyal to his brother Renly. The two brothers meet under a banner of truce. It does not go well. Renly mocks Stannis, calls him brother with false affection. Stannis, rigid with fury, demands Renly kneel and accept him as king. Renly refuses. Neither will bend. They agree to meet in battle the next day. Renly has the larger army. Victory seems certain. He returns to his camp confident. That night, Melisandre works her magic. Davos, horrified, watches as she gives birth to a shadow. The thing emerges from her body, dark and terrible, and flows away into the night like smoke. The shadow enters Renly's tent and kills him, stabbing him through the heart with a blade of darkness. Renly dies in the arms of his lover, Sir Loras Tyrell, the Knight of Flowers. By morning, Renly's great army dissolves. Some lords join Stannis. Others flee to King's Landing to make peace with the Lannisters. The Tyrells, the most powerful house that supported Renly, withdraw to consider their options. Stannis has won without battle, but the victory feels wrong. Men whisper of sorcery and murder. Davos, loyal Davos, is shaken. He followed Stannis because Stannis represented justice and law. But this is kinslaying, perhaps the worst crime in Westerosi culture. Still, Stannis now has the largest army in the field. He turns his fleet north, toward King's Landing. He will take the capital, take the throne, claim what is his by right. Melisandre watches the flames and smiles. All is proceeding as her visions showed. The night is dark and full of terrors, she whispers, and she means to bring light to the world, whatever the cost. Picture Stannis on his ship, sailing toward his destiny, the Red Woman beside him, shadows gathering around them both. He is righteous in his certainty, terrible in his determination. He will be king or die trying. Let this image settle. Ships on dark water, sails bellying with wind, the red comet still burning in the sky above them. An army moving toward a battle that will decide the fate of kingdoms. Rest in this moment, the calm before the storm. Ships cutting through water, the rhythm of waves, the creak of rigging. Soon there will be fire and death and terror. But for now, there is only the journey, the inexorable approach of fate. Daenerys in the Red Waste. Across the narrow sea, far from the wars of Westeros, Daenerys Targaryen leads her small khalasar through the Red Waste. After Drogo's death and the miracle of the dragon's birth, most of the Dothraki abandoned her. She has only a small group left, Ser Jorah Mormorn, her blood riders, a few dozen Dothraki who refuse to leave, and her 3 dragons. The dragons are growing. still small but no longer tiny. They eat meat now, roasted by their own flame. They ride on Dany's shoulders or fly short distances on leathery wings. They are miracles, impossibilities, magic made flesh. But Dany's people are dying. The Red Waste is aptly named, a desert of red sand and rock, where nothing grows and water is scarce. They march day after day, searching for a way out, for salvation, for anything but this endless waste. Dany sends riders in all directions, seeking help. Days pass. Weeks. One by one, the scouts fail to return, lost in the desert or dead from thirst and heat. Then one returns. He has found a city, Karth, the greatest city in the east, wealthy beyond measure, where the streets are said to be paved with jade and merchants wear jeweled sandals. The scout carries an invitation from the Kartheen. Come, be welcomed, be honored. The Khalasar struggles across the remaining desert and reaches Karth. The city is magnificent, more beautiful than anything Dany has seen. Its walls are triple-tiered, each gate carved with elaborate scenes of love and pleasure. The 13 merchant princes who rule Karth welcome Dany with great ceremony. She is the mother of dragons, and dragons have not existed in the world for more than 100 years. She is a wonder, and Karth honors wonders. But there is something false about the welcome. The Kartheen are too smooth, too practiced in their courtesy. They give her a house to live in, servants, food, but she feels trapped, displayed rather than aided. A masked woman named Kaith warns Dany to beware. Beware the perfumed seneschal, she says cryptically. Dany does not understand. A wealthy merchant named Xaro Cohen Daxos befriends her. He shows her his great wealth, his palace of many rooms, his vault where treasures beyond counting are stored. He offers to marry Dany, to give her ships and gold to retake Westeros. But Dany senses something wrong. Xaro is too eager, too helpful. What does he really want? Then her dragons are stolen. Dany is devastated. They are her children, her miracles, the only thing that makes her powerful. Without them, she is just another exile, another beggar with an old claim to a distant throne. She searches frantically. With the help of Ser Jorah and others, she discovers the truth. The warlocks of Karth have taken her dragons to the House of the Undying, their stronghold of sorcery. The House of the Undying is a place of twisted magic. Dany enters it alone, though she is warned against this. Inside, she experiences visions, strange and terrible and prophetic. She sees her brother Rhaegar, not the monster she has been told about, but a thoughtful man, speaking of prophecy and destiny. She sees the throne room of King's Landing, destroyed and empty, snow falling through holes in the roof. She sees many things, cryptic and confusing, pieces of a future not yet written. Finally, she reaches the heart of the house, where the warlocks wait, pale and ancient, trying to bind her with their magic. They want to keep her and her dragons forever, feeding on the magic the dragons bring back into the world. But Dany is not helpless. She commands her dragons, Dracarys. It is the High Valyrian word for dragon fire. The dragons breathe flame. The warlocks burn. The House of the Undying begins to collapse around them. Dany flees with her dragons, escaping the dying building. She returns to find that Xaro Cohen Daxos has betrayed her. He has taken over her house, killed her people. But Dany has her dragons now, and she is no longer afraid. She confronts Xaro. She demands to see his famous vault, where all his wealth is stored. He resists, but she insists. The vault is opened. It is empty. Xaro's wealth was all illusion, borrowed finery and false claims. He is a merchant of lies, not gold. Dany takes what is actually valuable from Xaro's house: gold, gems, ships. She leaves Karth behind, sailing away with her small group and her growing dragons. She has learned something important in this strange city. Trust no one who seems too eager to help. Power must be taken, not given. And she has power now, real power, in the form of 3 living dragons. Picture Dany on the deck of her ship, sailing away from Karth toward an unknown destination. The dragons perch on the rails, growing larger each day. The sun sets over the water, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. She is still far from Westeros, still building her strength, but she is coming. The mother of dragons will not remain in exile forever. One day, she will return with fire and blood. Let this image rest, ships on peaceful water, the day ending, dragons silhouetted against the sunset. A young woman who has lost everything and is building something new from the ashes of her old life. The Battle of the Blackwater. In King's Landing, Tyrion prepares for the siege he knows is coming. Stannis' fleet approaches, hundreds of ships carrying thousands of men. The city is in chaos. Food is scarce. The people are restless and angry. Joffrey sits the Iron Throne, cruel and cowardly in equal measure. Cersei drinks wine and makes bad decisions. The defense of the city falls largely to Tyrion, the dwarf hand that no one respects but everyone needs. Tyrion has prepared a surprise for Stannis. He has been working in secret with the Alchemists' Guild, manufacturing wildfire, the magical substance that burns with green flame and cannot be extinguished with water. It is dangerous, unstable, but it is also their best weapon against Stannis' superior numbers. The night before the battle, Tyrion visits Shae, his lover. They both know he may die tomorrow. She begs him not to fight, but he must. He is Hand of the King. Whatever else he is, whatever people think of him, he will do his duty. Morning comes. Stannis' fleet appears in the Blackwater Bay, sails filling the horizon. The city walls are manned. Joffrey sits in golden armor, playing at being a warrior king though everyone knows he is craven. The battle begins. Stannis' ships approach the chain that stretches across the river mouth, meant to keep them from reaching the city walls. The defenders shoot arrows, throw stones, but the fleet is too large. They cannot stop them all. Then Tyrion springs his trap. A single ship sails out to meet the fleet, abandoned except for a few brave men who will light the fuse and then escape on rowboats. The ship is filled with wildfire. It reaches the center of Stannis' fleet and explodes. The green flames spread across the water, leaping from ship to ship. Men burn, screaming. The river itself seems to be on fire. Ships collide trying to escape. The neat formation becomes chaos, burning wood and drowning men. It is terrible and beautiful and effective. Half of Stannis' fleet is destroyed in that single blast. But Stannis is not defeated. He adapts quickly. Ships that survive the wildfire land their troops. Men storm the walls with ladders and siege towers. The battle continues, fierce and desperate. Joffrey, seeing the violence, retreats to the Red Keep. He abandons the walls, abandons his men, claiming his mother needs him. The soldiers see their king flee, and their morale breaks. Tyrion must act. He leads a sortie himself, the dwarf on a specially made saddle, riding out to attack Stannis' troops from behind. He rallies the men with a speech about defending their city, their homes, their families. They fight. It is brutal, chaotic. Tyrion is in the thick of it, swinging an axe, killing men, nearly dying a dozen times. He feels alive in a way he never has before, purposeful and needed and brave. But then someone, one of his own men or perhaps a knight of the Kingsguard, cuts him. A blade slices across his face, taking off part of his nose. Tyrion falls, bleeding, barely conscious. The battle rages on without him. From his place on the ground, dying perhaps, Tyrion sees shapes moving through the smoke. An army is arriving, fresh troops flooding onto the battlefield. For a moment, he thinks they are more of Stannis' forces. The city is lost. But no, These are different banners. The golden rose of Tyrell. The crowned stag of Baratheon, but Renly's stag, not Stannis's. Tywin Lannister has arrived with the Tyrell army. They have made an alliance, the Lannisters and the Tyrells, the richest houses in Westeros combining their strength. Together, they crush Stannis's forces, driving them back to their ships, turning victory into defeat. Stannis barely escapes with his life, fleeing back to Dragonstone with the remnants of his fleet. His gamble has failed. King's Landing holds. Tyrion wakes later in a cell, not a room. His face is bandaged, hideously scarred. No one thanks him for saving the city. Instead, his father has taken credit for the victory. Tyrion is pushed aside, forgotten, the dwarf who no one wants to acknowledge. Tywin is now Hand of the King. The Tyrells are rewarded for their aid. Margaery Tyrell, beautiful and clever, will marry Joffrey. The Lannisters and Tyrells will rule together. And Tyrion. Tyrion is given a small room in the Tower of the Hand. No longer Hand himself, just another Lannister, scarred and bitter and alone. Picture the aftermath of the battle. The Blackwater Bay choked with wreckage, bodies floating in green-stained water, the walls of King's Landing scorched and broken but standing. The city smells of death and fire. People emerge from hiding, grateful to be alive, already forgetting who actually saved them. Tyrion sits in his small room, touching his bandaged face, knowing he will be hideous now, even more than before. He saved the city. He was clever and brave and effective. And his reward is nothing but scars and dismissal. Let this settle in your mind. The cost of heroism, the ingratitude of power, the way the Game of Thrones crushes even those who play it well. Tyrion has learned a bitter lesson, and he will not forget it. Rest now with this image, a wounded man in a small room, the sounds of celebration distant, the taste of victory turned to ashes. Sometimes winning is its own kind of defeat. Sansa's captivity. Throughout these months of war and chaos, Sansa Stark remains a hostage in King's Landing. She is betrothed to Joffrey still, though she now knows he is a monster. She has watched him mock her father's death, has endured his cruelty, has learned to hide her true feelings behind courtesy and pretty smiles. Joffrey delights in tormenting her. He shows her her father's head, preserved on a spike above the walls. He has his Kingsguard beat her for Robb's victories. He threatens to rape her or give her to his guards, all while expecting her to smile and thank him and act the loving betrothed. Sansa has become skilled at survival. She says what she must say, shows no emotion, retreats into courtesy so perfect it becomes a kind of armor. She is a prisoner learning to be invisible while standing in plain sight. She has few friends in the capital. The Hound, Sandor Clegane, Joffrey's bodyguard, is surprisingly protective of her. He is brutal and cynical, mocking everything Sansa believes about knights and honor, but he also stops Joffrey's worst impulses sometimes. He calls her little bird and tells her the world is full of killers, and she would be wise to remember it. During the Battle of the Blackwater, Sansa is trapped in the Red Keep with the other women. Cersei is there, drinking heavily, telling dark truths about the nature of power and womanhood. If the city falls, Cersei plans to poison herself and her children rather than be captured. She shows Sansa the poison, makes her understand that death is sometimes preferable to defeat. The battle rages outside. They hear distant explosions, screams, the clash of combat. The women pray and wait and wonder if they will live to see morning. The Hound comes to Sansa during the battle. He is drunk and wild-eyed, done with fighting, done with Joffrey, done with everything. He offers to take her away, to smuggle her out of the city and take her home to Winterfell. Sansa is tempted. She wants to go home more than anything. But she is also terrified of the Hound, of his violence and his bitterness. She refuses. He leaves, abandoning King's Landing, riding off into the chaos. Sansa will later wonder if she made the right choice. The Hound was offering her freedom, and she was too frightened to take it. When the battle ends and the Lannisters are victorious, Sansa's situation changes. Joffrey no longer needs to marry her. The Tyrells have brought their army to save the city, and now Joffrey will marry Margaery Tyrell instead. Sansa should be relieved. She is free of her monstrous betrothed. But she is still a hostage, still trapped. And now she has no value, no protection. Without the promise of marriage, why should the Lannisters keep her alive? Lord Petyr Baelish, Littlefinger, visits her. He speaks in riddles and hints, suggesting he might help her escape. But Littlefinger helps no one but himself, and Sansa has learned to trust no one. She remains in King's Landing, trapped in courtesy and fear, waiting for a rescue she no longer believes will come. She thinks often of her family, her father dead, her mother and brother at war, Arya missing and probably dead, Bran and Rickon supposedly murdered by Theon. She is alone in a city of enemies, and she has learned that songs lie. Knights are not gallant. Kings are not just. And honor gets you killed. Picture Sansa in her room in the Red Keep, looking out the window at the city below. She is older now, harder. The innocent girl from Winterfell burned away by experience. She still does her needlework, still says her courtesies, but behind her blue eyes is a girl learning to survive by any means necessary. Let this image soothe you. A window looking out over city at dusk, the setting sun painting the sky in soft colors. A girl alone with her thoughts, neither happy nor sad, simply enduring. There is a kind of peace in acceptance, in knowing you cannot change your situation but can control how you face it. Sansa endures. That is her strength, her quiet heroism. She bends but does not break. And one day, perhaps, she will be free.